What's going on, guys? Today we are taking a look at Age of Extinction Voyager class Grimlock. Here we have him in the box, and I got this from the mystical land known as Canada. Though the eBay seller did not bother to say that the figure had already been opened and played with. Yes, thanks a lot, eBay. You're going to be getting a negative comment on that one. Packaging is typical AOE, very muted, but I like that. I do like that. It's just nicer. I think it's cleaner and better looking. Anyway, let's open them up and take a look. Out of the box, Grimlock does look pretty darn cool and ready to start something fierce. He is a very interesting looking figure. He is a little bit top heavy and a little bit oddly proportioned, but we'll talk about that in a second. He does have a giant lower half of a Tyrannosaurus mouth hanging off of his butt, though. He is a fun little figure, though. I do really like him a lot. There are a few little nagging issues, but we'll talk about that. He has this nice Autobot symbol right here in the chest, and overall, I like the look. The samurai dinosaur look is in this year. He comes with this mace thing that disassembles really easily. This is just hollow plastic that slides over his tail in beast mode, and this is a really big tuning fork. You really can't do much with these things other than have him use this giant mace. I was trying to figure out a way where you could have maybe one hand holding the bottom of the weapon like that, and then use this as a giant punching club or punching bag. Or not punching bag, a giant like boxing glove of spikes, but that did not work. You are supposed to be able to store the weapon in robot mode on his back, though I haven't been able to do it reliably as there's nowhere it plugs in. It's just supposed to rest right here across his back. And it's just kind of supposed to rest like this, but it doesn't really do a good job of it, as you can see. And maybe that's just me failing at, playing with toys and whatnot. He has a fearsome head sculpt that looks really neat. And I love the fact that all of the silver paint and the molding on it makes it look like metal fossils. It's a very, very cool look. One thing I do want to mention is he has no light piping in the head. That is just painted on eyes, or it is just really, really sparkly plastic. It kind of reminds me of a Gundam marker, in all honesty, the green Gundam marker specifically. Grimlock is pretty posable. His head is on a swivel. In fact, his whole head and neck are on swivels. Shoulder swivels. Now, be careful. If you don't pin the chest in correctly, the movement of the arms will cause the entire chest to move. So swivel underneath the shoulder that is incredibly tight, well over 90-degree bend in the arms. Unfortunately, there is no wrist swivel with the way the figure is supposed to be transformed in robot mode, but you can unpeg the dinosaur foot from the outer forearm, and then you've got some wrist articulation. No torso articulation, but there is hip articulation. You've got in and out movements of the legs, swivel right underneath that. Then there is a very light ratchet joint in the knee, and it appears that there are swivel or hinges here in the shins, but that's more for the tail. Feet don't really move except for the transformation, but you can get off some decent poses with this guy. I'm partial to this pose myself. I think this is the most dynamic that I can get the figure to look. Plus, I just like the way this looks really badass and all. A quick word about the directions for this toy. Now, the figure is packaged in robot mode, as you saw. The directions, however, start him off in beast mode, or Dino Mode. And Prime is the same way, or the Voyager class figure of Prime. Why they do this, I don't know. My guess is these were printed well before the packaging for the figure was decided, so whoops. Grimlock's transformation is actually pretty cool. To start off with, we'll just make sure that the head is facing forward, turn the figure around, take this first piece that's on his back and fold it up as far as it'll go. Then grab the whole head section and fold that down. One thing you do need to be careful of is this section does come unpegged pretty easily. Once you have that done, or pulled back a little bit, push the dino heads down as far as they will go, and then slip this gold piece between the two dino head pieces. Then you can bring the dino head pieces together and close them over the bottom of the dino mouth. And that does take just a smidge of force, and just leaning the dino head up a little bit. And there's that. Then fold the dino head as far down as it will go. Then take this back piece and actually slip it and snug it in right onto the upper back of the robot mode. Then we could come into the front and grab the little crotch plate here, crotch skirt, flip that up, and then reach in and pull the abs of the figure up and push the head push it up all the way up to the head. Then we take the arms and just put the arms straight out to the side. Then for the legs, we actually want to line the legs up with each other and straighten them out, then fold the feet until they snap, and then we can peg the legs together. And this is where the bending knees or the bending shins should come into play, but they really don't. You don't really need to do that. Then take the legs and flip them up along the axis of the figure until they peg into place just underneath the chest plate, and just kind of line everything up. And then we can bring the shin or the thigh armor up and put that into place. Take the feet, fold them down as far as they will go, then turn them 180, and this little spike that goes over the thumb will actually peg into the outer forearm on the robot mode. Let's do that over here. Bring the legs down, and oops. When you're transforming this guy, things have a tendency to just slide and slip around. Even though the joints are strong, they just kind of don't like to stay where they are. So I like to make sure that the legs are bent. Flip out the heels for the Dino Mode. And for all intents and purposes, there we go. And here we have the Dinosaur Mode. Now, things do flop around a little bit, even though we've got everything pegged into place, but that's okay. I can deal with that. The overall detailing in Dino Mode is really nice. I'm rather surprised. I'm really digging it, actually. I don't care for the fact that you could see screw holes in this mode, but I'd rather see them in the Dino Mode than see them in the Robot Mode. That's just me. The head sculpt on the Dino is really wicked, and there's this button here for chomping action. So you can move the head up a little bit and have him yuck at you. That's pretty cool. You can also combine this with his mace, or his mace is supposed to be used in this form. Just line it up with the feet, make sure these little tab holes are at the bottom, and they will slide right into the bottom of the feet. Once you get everything lined up, you will pop the bit off, but that just looks dumb. I'm sorry, that just looks real dumb. So I leave the mace weapon off and just leave him like this. Overall, it's a very nice looking Dino Mode. I really do like it. A little bit too much gold, but I can deal with that. One thing that is very surprising, though, is just how small this is. I mean, this is his Dino Mode compared to Starscream. Starscream is bigger than Voyager-class Grimlock. There's just something wrong with this. I could not get an Optimus Prime figure to sit on Grimlock very well, so I went with the next best thing. I think everybody wins in this situation. Overall, Age of Extinction Voyager-class Grimlock is a pretty solid figure. It's nowhere near as complicated as, say, the Dark of the Moon figures are, or were, and I'm really actually thankful for that. This feels like something that we collectors and kids could all enjoy equally. It's a pretty darn good figure. There are a few niggling problems, like the fact that the eBay seller I bought this from in Canada didn't bother to say that the package had already been opened and played with, but that's not here nor there. The actual issues with the figures have to do with some stuff doesn't like to stay pegged in, especially the arms and the back. I would have liked to see more articulation in the wrists, but that's not a huge deal, and as I said, not a deal breaker either. It's a solid figure, and quite a bit of fun. The transformation is enjoyable and fun, and it's pretty unique. It's definitely not the atypical Grimlock transformation that we've been used to and seen year after year and figure after figure. So I'm happy about that. But like I said, some stuff doesn't peg in all that well or stay pegged in. But hey, you know what? Sometimes a figure isn't going to be perfect. And this one isn't, but it's still definitely worth picking up. So guys, I've been Baltmatrix, and as usual, I'll catch you next time.